Hello! Welcome to the first garden tour of 2020. It's June 1st. Already got so much stuff going that I didn't even have anywhere close to started last year. I mean, I'm at least like 2 months ahead. So I am super excited and starting to get a little bit of harvest, but this is the hard part of the season where you just have to wait for things to grow, but yay! I'm going to start with my 6 beds from last year. They've all been moved and I have added on so much more. So this is the strawberry bed. I think some bunnies got in here. I just put some netting over this for the birds, but I really want strawberries, so I'm hoping these really start filling out. This next bed's got a lot going on. We've got garlic here on the left, lettuce, more garlic, onions. These are herbs that have flowered, sage and thyme, parsley. This is just quite a bountiful bed. Now, as we move over, there are some fruit trees. So this is a Honeycrisp apple tree. I've put the netting over these two to protect them from the birdies. That's a Chehalis apple tree. They pollinate each other. Right here is the potato box. So as you see, I've started piling straw on top as they grow. I'm also going to screw on more side planks. So as the plants get taller, I will heap on more straw and then they'll keep growing up. Should make for a pretty big potato harvest. Next we have the 2 cherry trees that both pollinate each other. Let's see what kinds we've got. Rainier Cherry Dwarf and Stella Cherry Dwarf. This one's got quite a lot of cherries going on it, so I might be able to get some this year. So that's exciting. This next bed has a lot of onions planted in it. Just moved over a cabbage in here. And I started a lot of lettuce, so there's a lot of little seedlings coming up. So onion, lettuce, mostly. It's the brassica bed. So this bed has got cabbage, broccoli, more cabbage, kale, some herbs in the back, some spinach. I just started moving some of these apart to give them more space. These are starting to get big, but I don't really see them heading up much. Next, we have a squash bed, but it's really pumpkins and corn. So we got pumpkins in the front, pumpkins in the back, corn's gonna be in the middle. And then this next bed is really where all the squash are along the sides here. And as they get bigger, I might move them apart. All different kinds of squash, some chives in the back, and these are ground cherries. And I'm super excited about those. Over here is one of my flower beds. Right now, everything's got chicken wire because we have so many bunnies out here. So I'm trying to protect all the plants while they're young, but we've got sunflowers, zinnias, and dahlias. This bed over here has carnations in the front, zinnias in the middle, and dahlias in the back. And for now, I've got all my little baby ducks right here. Say hello. Yeah, they've been living in the shed while they're little, but they're getting pretty grown up, ready to move out with the chickens. So these are the duckies. This part of the garden, I'm really excited. This is all new beds, everything. These 2 beds actually were from my previous garden. Please disregard the mess on the porch. In progress. So these are flower beds. They've got some herbs in them, cosmos, some onions on the back from the ones that sprouted in the house. So all the herbs are flying, which is really pretty. And then this one overwintered from last year, which is really beautiful. Then starting right next to the porch, this is a wildflower mix for bees and butterflies. So that's really growing and I cannot wait till it starts to bloom. And then I have some sunflowers in the middle and some sunflowers in the back that should get huge. And then moving along, we've got the berries. So we've got raspberries and blackberries. And then on the lower part is mostly lettuce and herbs. And then cucumbers on the trellis because they're gonna grow up and over. And there's some cucumbers on the other side too. So that should be really cool. I'm excited to see how that works out. Next we have the pea bed, and man, do we have peas. Lots and lots of peas. I'm gonna have a lot of peas. I wasn't thinking any of them had really put off peas yet, but then when I went to the other side, I found some peas. So, yay! Our first peas of the season. These are like sugar snap peas, snow peas, and shelling peas. Then in the front and on the other side are all bush beans. So those should be growing big kind of as the peas peter out, I think. Always have mixed in some beneficial companion flowers like marigolds and nasturtiums. So these are the peas from the other side. Quite luscious. I should have a lot of peas. So right next to the peas are where my chickens live now. Here's their coop in progress. Doing some work to it. Going to be moving the duckies in the back. There's a lot to do, but they're happy. They've got like about 100 square feet, but of course they want to come on this side. But they're doing really well. Laying eggs, they get about 9 a day. I think one might be laying somewhere secretive that I can't find, the number 10. But happy chickens. All right, continuing on from this sort of courtyard setting with the arches. The arches have flowers planted on them that should vine up, but I'm not sure that's gonna really happen much this season. So this one's like vining black-eyed Susan, I think. The other side were wisteria. And then I have some beans that actually do look like they're really growing. All right, on to the tomato and pepper bed. There are some beans here that are planning to grow up the trellis. Then we've got tomatoes, nasturtium, tomato. So there's about 15 tomato plants in here, mostly cherry tomatoes, because that's what I like the most, but a couple other varieties. I put in some beets and radishes to fill in some of the space. There's basil and chives in here too. This tomato plant I got from a nursery that it was already pretty big and starting to fruit, and I was like, well, let's just see if I plant this out now and it stays warm enough, I might get some really early tomatoes. And alas, I'm getting really early tomatoes. Everything else is starting to flower though. They'll grow up this trellis. Some more basil, marigold. So this is this like vining bean thing, and it's supposed to make flowers that smell like chocolate. It's called fragrant flowering vine. It's called 5-leaf akebia. And yeah, the flowers are supposed to smell like chocolate. This is like the only one that's really growing quickly. It's already taller than me in this trellis. And the last bed in the courtyard is the blueberry bed. And I really got a lot of blueberries going on these. I put the netting over these too, so hopefully the birdies don't get all my blueberries. But I'm really excited because I love blueberries. Planted radishes and beets on the bottom again. Some mustard greens. There's like kale kind of randomly. Then I have these little 4 central squares which are actually hiding the septic tank access points. They were really ugly, and I started off just like making these boxes to put pots on to cover them, and then the garden sort of developed around it, and I ended up really loving this sort of courtyard feeling. And there's some lights on the trellises that light up at night. There's some really beautiful flowers here in the middle, some herbs. I've got most everything planted, just a couple things left. flower beds. This one I just planted recently. Has some foxglove, dahlias, something I can't remember the name of. I put some baby's breath in here, some asters. It should be really pretty as you kind of walk into the house. I've got my wagon planted with flowers. This was kind of one of the first little flower spots of the season, something instant gratification. I made a flower bed along this back wall, desperately needs to be weed whacked around. There's pansies in there, there were alliums that are kind of gone, there's some other things that look like they're coming up. So the baskets from last year still have flowers that overwintered and they're kind of going. So here's one more scan of everyone. So we've got the ducks, flowers, beds from last year, fruit trees, potatoes, over to this courtyard type with berries and beans and peas and cucumbers, and the chickens in the back. I get a really beautiful sunset here at night. Thanks for watching.